Welcome back to Simright Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to sew this trendy BUBU kaftan with front slit and puff sleeves, as you can see. So this BUBU kaftan is actually trending and it looks so beautiful. So you can use sequin, you can use damask fabric for the front design. You can even have your embroidery done on it. So whichever way, the principle is the same. So if this is what you want to learn in this class, I will encourage you to stay till the end of this tutorial. So you can see the neckline has a slit and it has a puff sleeve as well. It has a slit like a keyhole on the neckline, and it also has a slit below it. So please subscribe to this channel and stay till the end of this tutorial to learn the tips and tricks on how I made this beautiful gown. Thank you. So for this BUBU kaftan, I'm making use of 3.5 yards of milkado fabric. My fabric is milkado and the yardage is 3.5. You can make use of any fabric for combination. It can be a sequin, it can be a damask fabric, it can even be Ankara. You can even embroider it or whatever you want to do. The main purpose of this tutorial is to show you how to cut this trendy BUBU kaftan with puff sleeve and slit at the center. So I'll take away the combination till we get to it. Then I'll tell you how many yards that you'll be using for it. So here I'm going to fold the mikado fabric right now. So like I earlier said, my fabric measures from one end to the other 3.5. 3.5. So here is the other end of 3.5. So I'll bring the two ends together like this. So if you bring it together like this, it's going to be the length of this dress. So it's going to be the length of the dress. So here is the folded part is going to be the shoulder part that goes to the sleeve part. So I'll pick this one up right now and I'm going to make it to touch the other folded edge like this. Can you see? So if I touch the other folded edge, I'm going to arrange it for our cutting. So this is what you will have. So this folded part is going to serve as the center front, center back, while this will be the shoulder part, and here will be the sleeve part. So we'll start the cutting of this now. So we are starting the cutting by taking our vertical measurements from this point. And take the measurement of your under bust line. So my under bust is 14. I'll just rule the line straight to touch the sleeve part from here. So I'm going to use this to create the sleeve, the under bust. After that, the next measurement is your hip line. So I'll mark my hip line. We are going to use it to create the shape of this gown. Then after that is the knee line. The knee line is, my actual knee line is 41, but I'll count 1, 2, 3 and mark. So I'll use it to create the shape. Then the full length of this gown is 58, but I'll add 2 inches for it, for both hemming and to make sure that I have it flow on the floor as I desire. So after marking the vertical measurement, we'll go over to the horizontal measurement. So the horizontal measurement from the center front, I'm taking my neck width as 3.5. I'll mark 3.5. Then neck depth will be, for back will be 2 inches. Then I'm going to connect that 2 inches to the 3.5. Then neck width for the front is 3.5, because it's going to have an opening at the front, a sort of slit. Then I'll connect the 3.5 to the 3.5. After that, I'll go over to the shoulder. So my shoulder measurement is 16 divided by 2 will give me 8 inches. I'll mark. From that shoulder, I'm going to take the measurement of my sleeve at the elbow. So from my shoulder to my elbow is 13. I'll mark. So since it's going to have a puff, I'll just add 5 inches for the puff. I'll mark because I have to pull it up to the elbow, so I'll add half an inch. Then I'll add 1 inch for my elastic casing. That will make it 16. From here 6 inches. So from here I'll measure what is remaining of my fabric. So here is 2 inches remaining. I'll come to the under bust line now. I'm going to mark 2 inches remaining, so I'll be able to create a straight line at that point. So this is my straight line touching the shoulder line. Then from this opening, just go ahead and measure about, but before we come over here, I will leave it here. Let's go over to the hip. So my hip measurement on my hip line, this is the hip line. So on the hip line from the center front, I'm going to take the measurement of my hip divided by 4. So my hip divided by 4 is 12 inches. I'll mark the 12 inches. Then I'll add 4 inches to it. 4 inches to it, including my seam allowance. Then I'll come over to my knee line. So I'll measure what I have from the whole of what I have from the center front, center back of my hip to the point of 4 inches. I have 16 inches. I'll come on that knee line, take away 2 inches from 16. That will give me 14. Then I'll pick what I have 14. I'll go to the hem. I'll also measure 14. And I'm going to mark the 14. So I'll come with my straight ruler right now. I'm going to connect a straight line from the hem of this dress to the knee line. So I'll connect it as a straight line. So after connecting it as a straight line, I will now measure, take this. I will take what I have here at 16. That's the measurement of what I have from on the hip line. Just pick it from there. 16. Come to the under bust. Also do what? Measure the same 16. But this time around, we'll add 2 inches to it. That is 18. So we are going to connect like a cow connection. Of course, you know how we usually connect that our cow. So it's not going to be a full cow connection anyway. So I'm going to take it from here, from the hip line. So we are going to take it from the hip line, and then before we get here, we'll just connect to the 2 inches, just like we do in our BUBU. Okay, so from that point we marked, just mark it straight like this. Then to the knee line, as you are coming, you just taper it this way. You can just taper it this way. Just make a little. So this is what I did. Once you come here, you can go like this. Okay, just taper it a little bit into the sleeve. So I believe you see what I did. So but on this part, it depends on how big you want. I added 4 inches. You can also, if you want it very big, so you can just add like 6 inches here. Okay, it depends on how big you want it to be. So if you add like 6 inches here, that means your extension will be at 6 inches. So let me just show you what it's going to look like. If you add like 6 inches, you will now have another line going this way. So if that is what you want, you can have it go this way, and then from here you have it this way. So it depends on how big you actually want it to be. So here I took 4 inches as my measurement. So but here you can see is almost up to 7 inches. So that depends on how big you want that part to be. So if here is not that much enough, I can do, maybe let me do the 6 inches. Let's do the 6 inches so it comes out exactly the way it is on that dress. So I'll just do 6 inches. You can see I took it straight to this point. I think it's better. Then you now take it from this point. Once you are getting here, you do what? You connect it. So this part has to be at that point of 14. Please don't extend it or make it. So we'll go with this second line now. So these ones, we are not working with them anymore. Let's make it a little bigger as it is. So I'm going to cut right now. So here is my neckline, and I've arranged it on the shoulder line and made a notch at the center front. So we are going to create a slit of 4 inches now. So I just, from here I'll mark 4 inches. Then I'll draw a straight line. So I'll open up this part. So make sure it is relaxed before you open. So for the front, I'll open a slit to it at 4 inches. Okay. Then we are going to also take the measurement of slits at the center front. So I'll measure from the shoulder, take the measurement of the shoulder to my knee line. That is where the slit is going to be. So my knee is at 41. So I'll come up by 1 to 3 inches for my slit. So I'll mark this at the center front. So the center of this dress will be determined by the measurement of what we have here. So just do this. This is what I'm going to do to get the actual center. I'll place it together like this and make a notch on the hem. So I'll make a notch on the hem like this. So once I make the notch on the hem, so I'll measure what I have from here to the end. So from that point to the end measures 14 inches. So I'll just come to that point and measure 14 inches. So that is where I'm going to connect my slit. So I'll open up my slit from that 14. I'll mark a straight line from that 14. So when it's time, I'll follow the line and open the slit. So here we are going to open it just like we opened the upper part now. So I will leave it at that. Then we'll cut the sequin. So here I have half yard of my sequin. So half yard measures 18 inches. So I have half yard, and the length of my sequin is more than 60 inches. So just try and get if you want it to get to the full length. If you are making use of 60 inches length, just try and get up to 60 inches. So I have up to 60 inches, although there's no sequin, but I'll just make a little patch to it. So I will just add more sequin here. I'm going to cut out another piece of sequin. So you can just get yourself 1 yard, but we are using half yard. But because of what we are going to do, because it's going to run to the back, I'll just stitch another more length of sequin. Let me do that. I cut out another sequin. That means you'll be using 1 yard, so you'll be able to have your accurate sequin. So I'm attaching. So I'll take the measurement from here now. With the additional sequin, we'll be able to get the full length. So here is 60. So from here, we even have 8 inches. So it's more than enough. So I'm going to measure from the down part 60 inches because that is the length of my dress. So I'll measure from the down. So just measure from the down. Anywhere you get to 60. This is 60. So at that point, make a fold like this. So once you make that fold, next is to make another fold. So this part is going to fall at the back. So we are going to take the measurements we took before. So this is sequin fabric. Okay, let me turn it to the back so you understand what I did. So if I turn it to the back, I'll measure the back so we can be able to mark. So I'll measure 60 inches. So here is my 60 inches. Then I'll fold and fold again. So I'll fold because I want to create the neckline now. So I'll go ahead and mark my neckline. My neckline width was 3.5. I'll mark. Back was 2 inches. I'll mark. Front neckline is 3.5. I'll mark. So this is the back neckline. I will connect it to the back. Okay, so I'll first cut out the back neckline. So make sure it's correct. 3.5. So let me cut out the back neckline first. So once you are done cutting the back neckline, we'll turn it to the front. You hold it like this and turn to the front for us to cut the front, to mark the front neckline. So I want you to pay attention to what I'm doing here now. So I'm arranging it. So we had 2 inches here. We had 2 for the back. Then we have 3.5 for the front. So I'm going to mark the front like this. So after marking the front, hold it here, take off the back, okay, take off the back, and then you cut out the front neckline. Then make your notch. So this notch will be for the opening of the slit. So you can see it now. So this is going to be our center front. So if you want to shape this, put it back again and design how you want the shape to be. So I'll just put it back again and create. So for the shaping, this is the front piece of this dress, and I have it the depth at 3.5. So from that 3.5, I'll measure at the center front 16 inches. So I'll mark that 16 inches. So from the 16 inches, I'll come in by 4 inches. I'll mark 4 inches. So from these 4 inches now, I'll start shaping. You can see how I have my chalk. So I'll have it get to the neckline, and from there I'll also shape this part. So this part, I just want it to curve like this too. There's no actual measurement, just go ahead and curve it. That is the back part. Then after that, I'm going to the hem to measure another 4 inches. So I measure from here 4 inches. So I'll take this 4 inches straight. So when you are taking it, make sure it's also at 4 inches. And make sure it's at 4 inches. So when we open it, we'll have it at 8 inches. So I'll come over to the 16 inches and do a little curve like this. So I'm going to cut the line right now. So after cutting, this is the shape I have, and I will make my notch at the center front for this part as well. Okay, so I'm going to lay what I have right here on the main fabric. So this is the main fabric right now. This is the wrong side. Then you come with your sequin and place right side to wrong side. Place it at the back. This is the back. Where we have the slit is the front. So go ahead and position the neckline. So I'm going to secure it with my pin. Match notch to notch, then arrange it. So this fabric, you can see it has a little expansion, just a little expansion, because this is thicker and this is lighter. So I'll secure it with my pin now. So after pinning, I'm done pinning. You can see how I pinned the pins. So I'll go over to my machine now. From the notch, I'm going to sew round and I get back to the notch. So if you look here, you can see this fabric is actually stretchy. That's why I have a little excess, but that does not really matter. It's not too much. So after stitching, I'm going to trim off the excess. So let me sew round and show you what next to do. I'm done sewing. So I turned it this other way for you to see my stitches. So I trimmed off the excess I told you about. Okay, so I also made notches. As you can see, I made notches on it. So coming over to this part, you can see I arrange it very well and secure with my pin. So I'll go over to the machine and stitch the keyhole. So I'm done stitching the keyhole now. So I'm going to open it up. Make sure you stitch just a little, like 0.25, then cut a little bit to the keyhole so it will be able to turn. So I'm going to turn it very well now. So the sequin is going to lay at the front piece of it, as you can see. So I'm arranging it, as you can see right here. So after arranging it, the next I'm going to do is to top stitch. So I will neatly flip the seams to the part of the fabric and top stitch all around it, then give it a good. Before I press it, I'm going to lay my hemming gum below it. So my hemming gum, I'm going to stick them below it to hold the neckline in place. So make sure you top stitch appropriately before you do this. So I'll just put my hemming gum as you are seeing me do right now. Then I'll come with my piece of fabric and iron. So if you have a steam iron, simply place a piece of fabric and iron that part nicely. So you can see me ironing that part nicely so it sticks and relaxes nice and good. So here you can see I've finished the neckline and it's looking beautiful. So with the hemming gum, everything is looking neat inside, and this is the slit. So I'll just make sure that it lays flat. Of course, if you cut it well, it will lay relaxed. So we'll now take it to the hem now. So coming over to the hem, you know this fabric actually stretches. That's why it looks as if it's jumping up. So but just ignore it, put it together, get the midpoint on the hem. So once you get to the midpoint, match it with the midpoint of the hem. Okay, so the next we are going to do is to take the measurement we marked at the back. So you can see we have a mark of our slit. So the slit length, I'll just go ahead and take the slit length again. So after pinning it, I'll measure the slit length from the hem to the point of our slit which we measure. So we have 22 inches. So I'll turn it to the front, and now turning to the front from that center front, I'll measure my slit length also at 22. So here is 22. So I'll just go ahead and secure it with my pin at 22. So I'll hold it down with my pin like this. So I'll secure everything. I'll hold all the edges with pin. All the edges now, I'll hold them with pin, so we'll be able to cut the slits together. So I've held all the edges with my pin, as you can see. So I'll turn it to the other side. So the reason we held it with pin, you can see it, is so that it will be stable for us when we cut. So here you can see the line that we made already. So I'll go ahead and cut everything. This time I'm cutting with the sequin. So make sure you hold it with your pin and make sure this line is at the center front. So I'll stop at this point. So this is the slit. So going over to the machine now, I'm going to, if you stitch it the way it is, you'll not be able to get it. So we are going to take off our pins once again from here, and we are going to sew it inside out. So here we are going to sew from inside like this. You raise it up like this, and we are going to sew it. Let me turn it to the front so you understand what I'm doing. So after slitting, just turn to the front. So from here, this part is supposed to go in like this. So since it's supposed to go in like this, I'll flip this way. In fact, just flip it this way and sew from down. I'll sew from down, then take off my pin and return. I just want to show you how I'm stitching the slit. So just like I demonstrated on the table, that is how I'm stitching the slit. So I'm matching up the center slit with my pin. Make sure you match it, so because the fabric really stretches, so you have to keep the Mikado fabric on top and stitch so that you have the accurate fitting for that slit part. So once I get to the midpoint, I'll turn my presser foot, as you can see. Then I'll sew from that point to the end of it as well. So you can see I secured everything with my pin. So I'm trying to match it from the hem parts, making sure they align appropriately before I stitch. So I'm going to stitch from that point till I get to the end of the slit. So once I get to the end of the slit, I'm going to pick up the midpoint where I pinned and make a little more notch to it, just like we did in the neckline. So just make a little more notch to it. Then I'm going to flip it, all my seams to the side of the fabric and top stitch, so that our slit will look beautiful and fine for us. So I'm going to top stitch from that point to the midpoint of the slit. So once I get to the midpoint of my slit, I'll also raise my presser foot and continue the other way. You can see me turning my presser foot. So I'm going to sew from that point till I get to the end of it. So here is my slit. So you are going to use your hemming gum to lay the sequin in place. So I'm going to lay the sequin in place with my hemming gum before we finally top stitch on top of this facing. So you can see that's what I'm doing right now. So I'll come in with my hemming gum. So I'll just lay them and lay them, because that is what sticks this for us. So use your steam iron with piece of fabric and iron them down so it sticks nice and flat for you, as you can see. So after sticking this, the next we want to do, you can see how it lays, looking neat and beautiful on the inside. So the next we are going to do is to fold in these parts. Okay, so I'm going to fold in these parts very neatly and secure with my pins as well. So I'll lift up this and secure it. So you can see how I'm securing with my pin. So I'll just take my time and fold and secure. So if it's going to be difficult for you, you can still sew on top of this. Is sequin. So if it's going to be difficult, I will even advise, instead of securing with your pin, just lay it and stitch on top of it. Okay, this is sequin, so it does not frill and nobody will notice what happened there too. So instead of going to fold, if it's going to stress you, just stitch on top of it. So let me finish up that part to the end. So I'm done now stitching on the sides of it. So like I said, this is sequin. I just top stitch on top of it. I didn't fold it in because it's going to cause a lot of stress. So you can see I'm done stitching all around. So we are going to sew the elastic casing right now. So this is the right side and this is the wrong side. So on the sleeve, I'll just go ahead and fold in. First, I'll fold half an inch for my elastic. I'll fold half an inch. Then later, I'll fold a quarter of an inch. So I'll go over to the machine now. I'm going to top stitch on it to the end to form the elastic casing. So I'm done sewing the elastic casing right now. So I'm going to take the measurement of my elastic from the elbow line. So that is where I want it to be. So my elbow is 13 inches and that is exactly how I cut it. So with my safety pin, I'm going to pass through my elastic right now. So I'll keep passing it. But in order for it not to slip away, I'm going to top stitch, which I've done now. Then I'll continue passing it till I get to the other end as well. So I'll also secure it with my pin. So my elastic is ready, as you can see right there. The both sides are very much ready now. So the next thing we are going to do is to turn it around, and I'm going to sew the size of it with my seam allowance of 1/2 inch. So I'll just go and sew 1/2 inch or what. So I've closed up the sides. So on this corner, just go ahead and make some notches to ease that part. Then on the cow part, also make some notches to ease that part. So I'm going to hem the dress now. I'll repeat what I did there to the other. So I'm done ironing the side. So this is how it looks like on the side. So from the puff to the cow, from the cow to the hem of the dress. So you can see our dress is actually looking beautiful. So you can reduce the size if you don't want it too much. So here is the slit, and make sure your slit is equal when hemming the down part of it. So I hem the down part of it after serging. So thank you very much for coming to this tutorial once again. And if you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this every day. Like this video, share to family and friends, drop your comment on the comment section and your suggestions as well. Thank you once again, and see you in the next class. Bye.